Hey, how you doing today? This is Chris Cassidy with eXp Realty and the Living North of Boston YouTube channel. Coming to you today with a quick video, and I'm thinking about, and the situation just came up, but I'm thinking about the pros and cons of using like an in-town realtor versus maybe someone who covers a wider area. And the reason I'm thinking about this is this just happened to me. I was referred to somebody. I live in Linfield, and this neighboring property is in a different town, but a bordering town. And, we got along really well, everything else. But then he got back to me and said, I'm going to use this other realtor to list and sell the property. When I asked why, he said, well, they live in the town. And, they know people who want to move to the town. So I live in Linfield. The town in question is Danvers. It's literally, basically right next door. So, I went back and forth with him a little bit, but at the same time, the realtor that he's choosing to work with is a great agent and will, do a good job for him. So I didn't, it's, at least he's making a good choice, and I think it's still a little up in the air, so we'll see what happens. But I just thought, in the age of the internet, it's something I see less and less where people are as concerned. Back when I started in the olden times, 30 years ago, realtors were very provincial, and I started out at an office in Tewksbury, and most of the agents in that office only dealt with Tewksbury and the immediate bordering towns. And, thanks to the internet and so much more knowledge available, and even things like GPS, it's so much easier now to cast a wider net. For example, I'm licensed in New Hampshire as well as Mass. So last year in 2024, 40% of my business was in New Hampshire. So it's a big... that was a big jump from the typical 10 to 20%. And as a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to list a house just outside of Concord, New Hampshire in the next few weeks. A big, huge, beautiful home. And, so this kind of objection or kind of questioning comes up less and less. But it really made me think about, what is the best bet? Should you use a realtor who lives in the town, or is it okay to use a realtor who maybe is local but not right in that town? So I came up with a few pros and a few cons, and I just thought I'd go over them with you. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a home and wondering if you should hire a realtor who actually lives in the same town as the property, let's talk about the pros and cons so you can make the best choice for your situation. So first we'll go with the pros, and reason number one is deep local knowledge. A local, like an in-town realtor, knows the ins and outs of the town, like which neighborhoods are rising in value, which streets get too much traffic, and what homes are actually worth. That kind of insight can help you price your home right or make a smart offer if you're a buyer. So reason number two is strong local connections. Do you need a great home inspector, contractor, or mortgage broker? A local agent has those go-to contacts that are ready to help you get things to go smoothly and faster. They might even have insider info on off-market listings, and that's definitely a pro. Reason number three is they're close by, and if you need to view a house last minute or get something signed quickly, or there's a showing request on your home and you forgot to make the bed and you need to call the realtor, because that's happened at times. I'm not hiring myself out for housekeeping services, but I have been known to make a bed or two or to pick up a playroom. The local realtor could be more available and responsive, especially in a fast-moving market. No long drives, no delays, that type of thing. So those are some pros for using like a realtor in that town. Some of the cons why you might not want a local realtor is, some local agents may not have the same marketing resources or reach as regional and national firms, okay? So this goes more to like the local the agent who operates in the town has a small firm, and nothing wrong with those companies, but that it could be a disadvantage if they don't have that reach. If you're trying to attract out-of-town buyers or clients and get broader exposure. Okay. Reason number 2 is a good one. Too close for comfort. And in small towns, everyone knows everyone. A local agent might have personal relationships that could create conflicts of interest, or at least feel that way. Think representing both the buyer and seller, or selling their friend's home. They might show preference to that home over yours. It does happen. I mean, it shouldn't, but it does. Reason number 3 is they may lack specialized expertise. And if your property is unique, like a luxury home, a multi-unit investment property, or a vacation rental, you might benefit more from a specialist who casts a wider net, might have a bigger pool of clients, even if they're not local. Experience can matter a lot more than a zip code. And that's the thing. It's funny because the house in Danvers, the person who referred him to me is a friend of mine who just did renovation work on a house in Peabody. It referred me to those people, and I sold the house very quickly. So I just thought it was kind of funny that he didn't want to use me because I didn't live in Danvers and I lived in Linfield. But meanwhile, he was referred to me because of the job I did selling a great house in Peabody very quickly, asking price, or I think it was a little over, so it's just kind of interesting to me. So, should you hire a realtor who lives in the same town? It depends on your priorities, okay? Local knowledge and access, or broader reach and specialization. I think there's kind of a hybrid thing where if my predominant area is the North Shore, hence the living north of Boston, although I do sell all over and in New Hampshire as well. So I think if you're not, I've listed and serviced homes an hour away. It's definitely not as easy, but I'm able to get access to most of the same information as the local realtors. Also, because I've been around so long, I know those local realtors in those other areas. And a lot of times I can get help from those people in terms of things I might need. With EXP, I have access to 90,000 agents worldwide. And if I need coverage on an open house and it's an hour away, super easy to get that. So, the reasons are not as... It's a different world. So for that reason, some of the concerns that people had 30 years ago are definitely not a thing now. What I would say is just make sure that whoever you choose is experienced, communicative, and actually listens to your needs. Because at the end of the day, all right, the right realtor is the one who gets you the best deal. It's not how much you get for the house, it's how much you net at the closing table. That's the most important thing. Or if you're a buyer, it's not always about price, it's about terms and conditions. You got in before the start of the new school year, or things like that, or before the holidays. So that's just a quick overview. If you found this helpful, give it a like, subscribe, and share to the channel. Please share this with someone who is buying or selling soon. I'd love to talk to them, be able to help them. I'm always looking for new clients. I'm always happy to help people. And drop your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel hearing these different things? Would you use a local in-town realtor, or are you open to using someone maybe from the area? Thanks very much. Have a great day.